Healing work is challenging work, but it's always worth it. Um, so uh, I had recorded this video, but it came out a little bit not in the way that I wanted it to, just because of, I guess, residual emotions left over. But so in my previous video that I uploaded, I was talking about how last year I did a lot of expressing myself in feminine ways, and I decided, like, not to give a fuck about what anybody says or thinks, and to really just tap into that side of me. And while financially it really was hard to, like, love me and care for me as best as I would like to, I still did um, things that I could afford. I still took time that I, could see having for myself to really nurture myself and give back to myself. And we're back on that mission, right? Like, um, loving, caring, and nurturing ourselves. And one thing about that, especially when you're doing a lot of healing work, is a lot of things will come up because you are, in a way, like being your own mother. In a way, you're being your own caretaker. You are encouraging yourself to express feelings and emotions that your younger self would have otherwise, suppressed. And so, this video is more so about the what I like to call the male wound. um, I feel like a lot of people have it, and I feel like it definitely like goes beyond socioeconomic status, race, um, religion, creed, anything like that. Um, there was a dream that I had recently. I want to say within the last week, and it consisted of a stepbrother of mine. We're not close, but I also have like nothing against him. Um, and another guy that at one point I thought was like the love of my life, right? Kind of like getting together, conspiring in like the most unthinkable way towards me. And it was very weird as far as just like the premise and the setup of the dream. It didn't even seem like realistic in a way. It had it had my mother in it, like looking at me as if she knew it was gonna be the last time that she saw me in that kind of way, or saw me like ever. And you know, there's so many things that I could say that I'm not going to, because again, everything that I'm talking about is it's coming from a dream. It's coming from energies, right? Um, I don't want to use the word factual, but I I deal with energies, and I deal with my dreams, and I seek the deeper meanings of them and things like that. And so, not only did it make me sad, just the aftermath of the dream, like waking up and being in a place where I'm like, damn, that's like fucked up. I would never want any type of harm or anything to happen to any of these guys, even though me and my stepbrother are not close, and I no longer consider that person like the absolute love of my life, but I still wish no ill on anyone. And to think that something like that could happen or would be happening, or even energetically, right? Like, I had to sit with those emotions and just kind of cry. But instead of, and one thing I tell my clients is there is a difference between sitting and acknowledging your emotions and then, seeking a deeper truth. and like ruminating, spiraling, things like that. So I decided to acknowledge the feelings of like sadness from that because, like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, the fuck? uh, I've only ever wished any and everybody good. You know what I'm saying? Even if our wagons are not hitched to each other. Um, but the sadness kind of extended. After asking myself some questions about it, you know, like, okay, sitting here acknowledging the feeling, but then also um, seeing, you know, like, okay, what is it? What is this telling me, right? And so it just kind of extended to. I started thinking about other male figures in my life that I had that either passed away or that I lost contact with, and started thinking about, you know, how having a righteous I don't want to say like Christian or anything, but having like a man with integrity, um, you know, lead and guide you is something that I feel like a lot of people in our community, you know, we miss that. And I had to think about who those people were for me. I know one of them I lost to sickle cell. His son and I were like best friends at a time, and and I looked at him as like a father figure, like a mentor. And when we had conversations, it was in ways where it, you know, like there was a like gear up for, you know, X, Y, and Z, right? Or this is what you'll need to develop and down your road in life and things like that. And I'm super grateful for him, but I also lost him. Kind of like I lost him earlier than I thought I would. And then another male figure of mine, I thought heavily on him, of just laying out the know-how, right? And laying out like, okay, this is how you do this with integrity too, right? There's something to be said about those types of people that, you know, that you lose, or those type of people that, yeah. Anyway, I'm doing a lot of work when it comes to the male wound and getting down to the nitty gritty of the hows and whys and my interactions with, you know, men, period, regardless of like the type of relationship. I've taken some deep dives into like, you know, my platonic situations and even situations where I was the mentor, you know. Just been doing a lot of thinking, and a lot of things are starting to make sense. Mind you, I could say my life would be easier if I had like consistent, honest, you know, parental figures and a safe family unit. Usually that's where charity starts, right? It starts at home. And I tell my clients all the time that you are the first teacher to your kids. You're the first teacher. And so when the teacher is absentia, or when the teacher has priorities that are not, you know, they're begotten, um, then that you, in a way, that person has to bring out the teacher in themselves, or that person has to, you know what I'm saying, like find other means. I remember even like in my high school graduation, the disconnect was so real. Like my parents were not the first people to hug me after I graduated with my diploma. One of my favorite teachers, one who actually helped me get through a lot of stuff mentally and emotionally, she was like the first person to hug me after I graduated with my diploma. Um, and so there's a lot of work that I'm doing around that, right? And a lot of understanding that I'm coming to when it comes to that. And I really thought I was gonna have like something helpful to say. But this doesn't really have like a happy end. This video doesn't have like a happy ending or like a healthy tip or anything like that. But it's just like I just wanted to document this in a realization kind of a way where like, you know, you are going to be from time to time left to either figure things out on your own or even if you are growing up in a situation where you're very kind of um, ostracized or like a orphan, you and having to be like your own hero. Uh, there's a lot that goes with that, and maybe I'll put a manual together. No, I'm kidding. But I think people with those types of stories should, with those big male wounds, they should be having bigger conversations, right? Um, Not so much in the like, let's stew in this type of way, but let's see how do we correct this? How do we heal our communities? How do we provide spaces for those geeky, awkward boys, right? That um, may not, have that type of influence or direction in their lives. I think that's super important.